some different things that we've learned. So everybody's out chasing the golden ticket. That's why the green. We won't keep green because I know it's a little too going. Got some things from Renee, the Indiana First. Is she president or Renee over Indiana First? So this,
I'm not sure what her
her title is. She worked for First for a while, and she put together a funding book and has a couple quick things, and she has some quick hitters. You're looking for $400. There's a way to build your own robot event. Doesn't look too bad, but you do need some people and things like that to do. But that's something that they've come across. Team 1100 did a building event. Kind of requirements: 13 participants, $50 for a 3-hour period, 13 robots. So there is some cost in there besides just trying to come up with $1,400. Another thing, $4,000 a team raised by flocking. This is probably a good thing to raise money because some people feel it's a punishment getting 50 pink flamingos put in their front yard. My problem is my wife would think it was great and want to keep them there. So there's little things, maybe not quite to do that. I've also seen where fundraising, they've done orange toilets and put in the people's front yards, and you put it out there, and then you have to pay to have it removed. Same thing with the flocking. Some people may think it's a punishment. Other people may think it's great. I know some people would probably put dirt in it and put flowers. So again, some of these punishment things, they're good and fun. The flocking, I know 2 of my neighbors got it a couple of years ago. One got it, and then 2 days later, the one across the street got it. But there are some things that can be done. At GE and one of the divisions for Community Service Fund, they also do flocking. So there is some things out there.
John, is this consistent with Rachel's professionalism?
I'm not sure about that. But yeah, my wife would think it was great. So you're correct. I don't know about Rachel's professionalism. Again, it's 50 decorations, flyers, coordinating students. Something we have been successful with, but not all teams have been, we've had a patron book. We've raised usually between $10,000 to $15,000 with this patron book. The biggest thing you have to do, and at the same time we've kind of have dropped, you have to have students that are engaged and parents that are engaged in this. I think we had one student that was he was a great salesman. He was able to get a lot of funds for us through this. Don't ask me how. He would go talk to companies. The next thing you knew, he would have several $1,000s put in. He's graduated and has moved on.
What is the patron
Patron
book?
book. Let's see on this. What we use the patron book for is we turn, and it's just like a little advertising book. We put in there who we are, what we are, who our sponsors are, kind of a way to put it out there. Some people think, people are going to put it out there in their offices, so other people can come in and look at it. We talk about our teams, talk about our events, our outreach, and things like that. Again, it's a good fundraiser, but that one's one you really have to have the team committed to. Because of just the time and effort. I shouldn't say time and effort. Trevor's not in here. He and another of our students went out in one day and raised $1,700 just going business to business to business. So I mean that's as I say, one day, and they did hit some. We've got some other parents and students that were able to hit other companies, and they end up getting, if we get everybody involved, that's where we've gotten close to $14,000. Another incentive on that was one of our old mentors that was there said if we hit $15,000, he'd paint his hair pink. Now we did buy the paint, and we had it all together, but they just were a little short. He did have
blue. That this year?
What? You can't paint skin.
Yes, you can.
So
it'll stick to your skin too.
Yeah, it'll stick to your skin too. But again, this is something, and we have found successful for us. Other teams haven't found successful. There are some that are good and some that don't. On this one too, we talk about our FRC team, our 2 FTC teams, and we also talk about one of the FLL teams that we do support. You can raise it into whatever you want to, but that's something that we kind of have.
Got a question. Do you have demographics on your donors? Are you going to primarily like technology businesses, or are you just going to the community?
We'll go over that here in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So what do you start? I know we did well. Actually, we did a little too well. And we had to walk away from it. In-kind gifts. We had a couple people that brought us in medals. We had a medal company, ThyssenKrupp, that gave us medal for every year. That was really nice. So we didn't have to buy that. We had another company that gave us, what's that square tubing? I can't think of it right now.
Extruded aluminum stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they gave us, every year that. So when on the metal side, for several years, we were set. And that was very nice. Then we get into computers, and everybody wants to give you their old computer, so that's not quite so good. So, and we were also able to get a CNC machine, again, through an in-kind gift, which really helped us out, and we got a mill machine through that. We were able to get a bender, or a box bender, and some shears and things like that through some in-kind gifts. One was through an estate. So, again, it's sometimes knowing who, what, and where, and talking through it. In-kind gifts can be good and bad. Again, sometimes the in-kind gift you get is somebody else's junk. When Thyssen moved, they also gave us some shelving that we could use for metal and things like that.
Also our built space.
Yeah, our build space, all our build space right now is an in-kind gift. So, we have that. Cash, we finally, after a couple of years, because we were getting so many in-kind gifts and no cash, we kind of had to say, these are the things we need and these are the things we don't need. I'm going to kind of make this a little more interactive because I know Paul's been doing this for a long time. What have you seen work with in-kind gifts, and what have you seen not work?
Well, an in-kind gift, it works if you can list what it is that you need.
Mm-hmm.
But you have, like you said, you have to be careful about people cleaning out the basement and saying, and that happened to us several times.
Right.
Someone gave us a compressor.
Mm-hmm.
It was a homemade compressor. They used a old propane tank for the air receiver. It was like 30 years out of, past its life expectancy. The wiring was terrible. I mean, it was just not safe.
Right.
So the best thing I found for that is having a list of the items that you want, and that works really well.
Yeah.
If you just leave it open to anything,
Right.
you will get anything. Now, the flip side is, if all you say is, this is what we want, if somebody wants to give you something that you can turn around and sell and turn into cash, because they don't want to sell it,
Right.
sometimes you can sell it easier than they can.
Mm-hmm.
So the flip side is sometimes it hurts you because you don't get something that you can turn around and sell for profit. The way we handled that was to have garage sales.
Okay.
Rather than, and so then in-kind gifts went to the garage sale, and then we had the garage sale. And that worked really well.
Okay, and that's something new we've never thought of. So that's the reason I want to make this kind of a discussion point, kind of back and forth, because somebody's going to come up with something that I've never thought of. Right there, garage sale, we've never thought of. We just turn it right bad and question mark on mark.
And then we keep it.
And then we keep it. We don't throw it out.
But see, like one time somebody wanted to give us a whole bunch of servo or stepper motors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all great and all well and good, but we couldn't use them for anything. So we just took them and then turned around and eBayed them and got the cash for them.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, cash is great.
You did have a hand up there, John.
Please.
We had what we were starting to try and work on is a Amazon list.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have the items that are new. They can then pick on it and go to Amazon and buy it that way. So they know specifically what it is.
And that was something I got down, but that's a good
We
point.
have
Yes,
a wish list on our website, so the website has the listing, but then those links then go to an Amazon or Home Depot or someplace where it can be purchased that way. The other aspect we did was a project-based in kind. We needed a cart to be able to haul the batteries to pit at competitions.
Right.
And we found somebody who was able to make that for us. So it's just
We
kind
need
of
to
putting
talk
it
about that project.
together more as a project base. Here's what we need. Here's the,
Yeah.
the size and everything, and then one of the parents made it for us.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's one of the things that we have seen is there's somebody suggested that. I've got that down on the list, but no, that's great that you bring it up here. Some of the things that companies want to know. They want to know the team, who you are, what programs you're doing. SWOT. What works, what doesn't. I'm working on a grant right now, and that's basically what they're asking. What are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what opportunities we have, and threats we have. I mean, strengths real quickly for innovators. I think we do a good job with our outreach program. We've been very successful. Well, we've been very fortunate. I never want to say successful. We've been very fortunate with getting several Dean's List winners the last several years through our program. Weaknesses. I love that we have an in-kind gift for a building, but it's very small for us. We don't have any more room. We can only take up to 20 students, and that makes it tough. And we're also in a bad location. It's like on the other side of it's like 10 minutes off the highway, but you're going country roads. And we're on the north side of Dayton, and it just kind of a lot of our students. We kind of get them for a short time, so we have some weakness there. Opportunities. I think with the regional being closer, we're getting being this year in Springfield, we're hopefully going to get a little more, not only just for us, but from teams. Like in the Dayton area, maybe some companies up in Dayton that'll turn and look at it and maybe give us some opportunities there for either mentors or gifts or grants or things like that. Threats. Our biggest threat is that we run into is the extreme bots or the battle bots. We run a lot of companies that we go and visit. We run into that they're already in battle bot. They're already supporting other robotic teams, but it's in the extreme bots and battle bots. So again, I'm never going to talk bad about battle bots or anything like that, but that is just something that happens. We don't seem to have too many VEX teams in our area, so we're not running against that, but the battle bots we are. Other thing is the budget out there. A lot of teams are, well, how much do you need? So these are kind of some things we didn't think about when we first started doing this. And then, what do you need the funds and the gifts for? Again, it's just like, we need money. Well, what are you going to use it for? So those are things. Kind of getting back to, I think it's on the next one here. One of the things I was talking about with Rob, oops, no, I'll just go, that's fine. We went to one possible sponsor, and we didn't have a plan on what dollar amount we were going to ask the sponsor for. The sponsor asked us, in good faith, well, what would be a major sponsor dollar amount or how much would make us a major sponsor? Well, the students shouted out $7,000. We were done. So,
and the problem was that number got thrown out there, and there was no negotiation at that point.
Right.
We were done. It was over.
Yeah. I mean, it really was, and it was just like, where maybe if we would have come up with 1,000 or 2,000, but we didn't do any planning before we went in there.
Yeah,
We just
it's good to actually have a document
Right.
that says at this level, these are the benefits.
Right.
All the way up, and sometimes, a major sponsor is, usually 5,000 or
Right.
more, and people aren't willing to give it. So
Right.
if you're only willing to give 1,000, then
Yeah.
this is what we.
Right. And that's what we have
for
today, but that was just one of those
Right.
things that we learned at that time, that's why I said we were new, we were learning, and it didn't have a lot of this stuff out there. So people that, you can go out to, hopefully this is answering your question. Clubs, Rotary clubs, Optimist, Pessimist clubs, Lions clubs, trying to think, the one your sister went to Thursday night. Oh, Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
VFWs, things like that we can do. Things to start off with, because a lot of times they're looking for support. They may not give you, again, the $5,000, that golden, we're all looking for, we just want one sponsor is going to give us $50,000 and we walk away and you just give it to us every year. Well, we chased that one and we've never caught it.
You might also mention that we are also a 501c, so we rely completely on this to survive.
Right.
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit work.
We're not affiliated with the school.
Right, yeah. We are a community team, just like Lakota is, and the bonds and things like that. We're not with the school, so we have to do our own fundraising.
So, hey, John, along those lines, so what we found out early on was that you'll find some businesses that will only give to the school.
Right.
And you'll find some businesses that refuse to give to the school, but they give it to not-for-profit.
Right.
So we got a foot in each door. So we have an account at the school, even though we're not at the school. And we teamed up with the Westchester Liberty Community Foundation and created a fund there. And the nice thing about that is they take care of all of that not-for-profit stuff that you have to worry about. And you know, there's legal requirements that if you step over the line, you lose that and you don't get it back in it very easily.
Right.
So they send out all the paperwork, they take care of the IRS form, all of that stuff they take care of before.
Yeah.
So you pay a fee for that, but with the amount of money we have for us, it's well worth the time that they do that for us. So,
And that's one of the
just keep
things
that in mind.
And that's one of the things we struggle with. We need an audit every year. Our quotes that we get out, we don't, I mean, let's be truthful, we raise between $30,000 to $50,000. When we were at $30,000, our audit, the quote we got was $5,000. Yeah, which is, which is an event. And it's like, so right now we're still running with, we're doing all the proper paperwork that's required by the IRS. We're not required to, because of the amount that we have, we're not required to have a audited financial. But to go to places like some of the big grants, we are required to do that. We do have one grant that we're getting. They know us. They're waiving us. It's a private grant that does waive that for us. So that's why a lot of these, we go for a lot of the $500 and $1,000 ones. But we do tend, if we go out there and work hard, we do tend to get those. Last year was a year that I felt bad because I think the prior year I did okay. Last year, I think trying to do Queen City and Innovators, I think I contacted 125 different companies and I got $5,000. I felt like I really struggled. I felt like I was back in high school trying to ask girls out again. But
And you want to buy some chocolate too?
yeah. So, but
There's a question over there.
I just want to gauge, make sure I'm in the right place. I set ours up. I've got 6 different levels of sponsorship. I started from $1 to $249, and my highest is $2,500.
yeah.
Would you recommend I adjust that? Because you throw out 7,000, 5,000.
Right.
Like, cool. Maybe I'm not.
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Everybody has to be comfortable
Right.
with the numbers that they put out.
You may start off. We struggled getting companies 1,000 or more. We could get them to 1,000, but we didn't get a lot of companies that were over 1,000. So that's why we kind of stuck with 1,000. We had some companies, because we have different levels, probably like you. We have a level just to get your name in the book, and we recognize you as a sponsor. We have another level which gets you an ad in the book. We have another level which gets you a bigger ad in the book and gets you, I think, on the T-shirt. Another level which gets you on the robot, and another level which gets you announced as one of our sponsor teams. $1,000 sponsor team to be on. They get called out at the events. We've had some teams or some sponsors go, how much is it to get you on the robot? Because they were giving us $300. Well, they found that, $200 more got a little more publicity.
So where we came with the 5,000 was because that was the amount to get you into an event. The first event was $5,000.
Right.
And so that seemed like a natural place to say you're a major sponsor, you're the premier sponsor of the robot, et cetera. But again, that was just our swag at it. Everybody thinks does.
Everybody's a little different from the areas. I mean, we just seem to be striking out. If we asked for 2,000, we struck out. But if we asked 1,000, 500 to 1,000, it seemed like we had more hits. So that's the only reason we went that way. So.
Were you advertising the level of sponsorship to every?
Yes. Yeah, we have a form that we send out and with the students or when we send out, where we contact somebody, say, here's our levels. And again, now, I'm glad you're doing that because that was something we failed with. When we first started off, we were trying to get with, that's when Dayton had more Delphi plans. So we were trying to get some of the Delphi plans, and that didn't work too well. We tried to get with Motoman, and that didn't work too well. And a couple other big companies, and then we realized, hold it, we're trying to get that one company to do everything. Maybe we need to come down, realistically come down. Other areas they can do, find a big company that will support them. So, again, just as Paul said, every area is different, every team is going to be a little different. As I say, I'm kind of talking with Rob here, where our failures were, where we've won and where we've lost. Again, everybody's, as we all say, everybody's different.
In terms of how you contact a lot of companies, is it more the mentors, coaches going out and doing cold calling? Is it having the students go out?
The students, like 2 of the students went out just recently and got $1,700. They did all cold calls. I never had them that were any student ever had contacted these companies. Well, I think a student had in the past. He got $25, but hey, that was $25, and it was all cash. It's $25 we never received from that company before. So, that was good.
Right. Something that our team does is that we try to have the kids call first.
Mm-hmm.
And so they call and set up an appointment.
Right.
And then come in and talk. So they're ready, and we send 2 kids at a time.
Right, yeah. And we've had both. Some kids are better, we'll do cold calls. Some kids will actually call, set up an appointment with the company, and go that way. Again, it's just the company, how they want to operate and want to work. These were more just real small, probably less than 20 employee companies that these 2 gentlemen went to, and were able to come up with that. They had several no's that day too.
Any more success for maybe some engineering companies, so they would more favor it, or is it more the community because it's around the location?
Some the ones they hit were more around our location. We have tried some engineering companies. Again, where we get into is a lot of our small machine shops. They're supporting the battle bots. So we kind of, when we find that, we say, hey, great, glad you're supporting something. And not in that way, but great. We're glad you're supporting other teams and other robotic initiatives. And thank you very much. We walk out.
So maybe they'd like a robot that would last a little longer. Not get
Yeah, right.
The other thing that you need to be aware of is a lot of organizations, there'll be like a hook. There'll be a business that they will absolutely support you, but by the way, one of our employees has to be on your team or be part of the team. I don't know if they just want to make sure it's legitimate or make sure. That's where we get the Teradata one from. And my next door neighbor works at Teradata, and I got talking to him one day, and sure enough, he started getting interest in it, and he's hooked now.
He's hooked.
He's really involved, and he helps us get that every year.
So a couple of things. One is that what happens is that companies, once people find out, sometimes it's teams or whatever, find out that they're sponsoring, then they get inundated. It's because they're a very large company, then they start getting inundated, right?
Yeah.
And so one way to limit it on a very objective basis is to say, if I have a mentor on the team, then glad to donate. If not, then I'm sorry, but we can't.
Exactly.
The second thing is that people don't think about it in your network, but doing demos, we've gotten a lot of sponsorship just by doing demos. So just out in the public, so we do it the Mini Maker Fair, and we've gotten a couple of people to sponsor the team just from those connections. So that's a way to grow your network, basically, is by doing demos. People don't think about it that way. They think about it as getting the word out about first, but we think about it as sponsorship.
Yeah, and we try to too. We haven't been, our demos, we've gotten some sponsorships, but we haven't been as successful as.
I'd say we have a lot, but
Right, yeah.
and a lot of times it's only for a year or two, but still anything.
I saw one at the Cardboard Regatta they had, the Voice of America.
Yeah.
They had a booth set up out front, so they were getting brochures, being able to, sponsorship, but they actually had one of the boats, the cardboard boat, so the water game was confirmed. And they had the logo and everything on there, and it was pretty neat, but that was just an opportunity to get out in the community and look for sponsors that way to get that awareness.
Yeah. Again, some of the other things work, matching gifts. Some companies will do matching gifts. Again, I know the mentors give a lot, but maybe you have companies that would work that will want to, especially this time of year, it's tax time. Good time to hit people up, especially to look at their taxes. But if they can turn and give something and they have company matching funds, that's a good way to do it too. We got a few $1,000s last year because of a couple people giving money and then going back to their company and getting it matched. So that's some stuff. Local businesses, we've done well with the smaller local businesses, maybe not so much the bigger local businesses. Again, some of the machine shops that we have been able to get into and get some things. We tend to kind of do one of these roller coasters, and I don't know if you run the same thing. When a parent or student is involved in the program and they have the contact with the company, we keep that company.
Right.
When they graduate, we may get them for one more year, but after that we get some, thank you, but no. We also have had companies, probably same thing as you, they've turned and rechanneled how they're doing their donations. It's like, okay, we're more open, but now we're going to narrow our donations, to this specific cause or this specific, based a lot of the times the causes. So that's something. Again, whenever I have a sponsor that moves, I always send them a letter and say thank you, or an email and say thank you, appreciate it, for all the years that you've done. But if you ever want to change, or situation changes, please keep us in mind, and do that. We try to come off with a positive thing. Friends and family. This was something we did last year. Again, it was probably tax time when we got a lot of this stuff, so that's probably because we got a lot of it in December. But we got about $4,000 last year. We had never tried it before, and so far we've gotten, I think, $1,500. So that was just something we always said no because it wasn't going to work. But surprisingly, I mean, $4,000 isn't tons, but $4,000's a second event.
So that's what we did last year. We'd always talk about, we said we don't really want to do that.
Right.
But the team, and so we have made we said, look, we're only going to go to the number of events that we have money for.
Right.
And slowly over time, it dropped down to the point where we only could go to one event. And last year, the students were adamant, we want to go to a second event. All right, fundraising. So they started a special fundraising, and basically they hit up friends and family. They had one of the thermometers, right? Okay, and here's the donations. And I was shocked. They got a little bit more than the $4,000 to go to the second event. We're kind of in the same boat this year, so I don't know what the students are going to do, the different students this year, whether they'll follow through or not. But
Yeah, right. As I said, I mean, that was one of the things we were the same way. We just like, we'll just get a lot of 25s here. Well, we got some 25s, and we got some 100s, we got some 500s, and next thing you know, it all added up. So again, it's just one of those, trying to think out of the box. United Way, we do have, I know some I think United Way does have a dollar amount or threshold that you have to give for the funds to be going to a specific organization, but we have one individual that's working at giving through United Way of Indiana, so we get a check a couple of times a year from United Way of Indiana. Again, that's very thankful and stuff. Again, just trying to think out of the box of things that may be in our network out there. Things that aren't in the network. Local restaurants. When students have gone just directly and say, give me money, we don't do very well. But that's usually one of the places there. Whenever we turn and say, where do you want to go visit? I don't know how many times McDonald's is written on there, Wendy's and KFC and Arby's and all that stuff. But I'm starting to see where restaurants are, if they can make some money out of it, they'll do it. Chipotle, every dollar you give, they'll give 50 cents back to the organization. One place to look. We're going to probably have a thing either, I think in December, or Chipotle. I think all it is in talking to some people, they give you like a code, the code of robotics or something like that. And then whoever goes in there and gives that code, they turn it in, and then all those funds go to that.
And some of them do like a time frame,
Right,
like
yeah.
Max and Irma's will do a night that between 5 o'clock
Right.
and close, for every dollar we get, we'll donate something.
Yeah.
I know Max and Irma's does that. City Barbecue does
Barbecue,
that.
right.
There's a lot of those places.
Yeah,
that
City
do those
Barbecue does it
things.
with 25%. I don't remember what Max and Irma's does. Some teams have been successful with Amazon Smile, I think it's called. they give like a half cent for every $100, I think it is you do.
Something really small.
Yeah, it's something really small. We haven't really jumped into it because with everything, we probably would, I think when we did a calculation, we'd make $50 or $100. I mean, it's not that it's not there, but it's something that we just haven't decided to go into. I think you just went with Kroger Rewards.
We've had that actually for a while. So one
Okay.
of our mentors 3 years ago, actually, Kroger has this deal with their Plus cards. When you use your Plus card, you can go in and set it up, and then they donate a certain percentage of the sales on your Plus card to a not-for-profit. So we've been getting $300 a quarter, I think, about from Kroger, which is pretty good. That's $1,200 a year. So, but what you have to do is they have to renew once a year. So Kroger, somebody has to go in and set up the connections to your some account, nonprofit account. Somebody has to be responsible for that. I don't know the details. And then once a year, the people have to go in and renew that that's where they want their monies, because otherwise Kroger stops sending it to them.
Okay.
So we have to constantly remind people to go in and.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw that from your email the other day. Another one, we weren't too successful, but Barnes & Noble at the Dayton Mall does some fundraising too. Again, if you do so much sales, you'll get so much percentage of their sales. And again, it's on different levels. If it's 1,000, it's one level. 2,000, I don't have the numbers right here. I'm sure all Barnes & Nobles probably do that, but that is one that the Dayton Mall has reached out to us. We've done a couple of events there. We raised a little money, not a lot.
Here's a question.
When you guys do the restaurant thing for the time or whatever, are you passing out flyers with the code, or are you going out and?
Yeah, usually do it beforehand, the codes.
Okay.
So like City Barbecue, they have a form that you have to pass out, and they set up a specific day.
Right.
All sales for that specific day go to your not-for-profit. The caveat is you cannot stand out in front of the restaurant and hand them out.
That's right.
Okay.
So that's the only caveat, but and it's only for one day, so you have to. They only assign one organization per day. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
So I know that's how we got the money to build the FLL tables.
Okay.
So one of our students was doing it as an Eagle Scout project, and that's how he did the fundraising. He signed up for City Barbecue, and all the proceeds from that paid for the materials for to build the FLL table. So we used for our retirement.
Community foundations. We've got one. It's a private one that we're able to grab. We've worked at some others. We haven't been so successful. Again, I think every area is a little bit different. I think sometimes getting in front of the foundation sometimes works a little bit better too. A lot of times it's contacts. I mean, it's just letters and phone calls don't really work, but somehow you got to figure out how to get into the contact list. Large corporations, very same way. They give out tons of money. Before I worked for GE, I didn't work for as large of a company as GE, but I know you're constantly getting letters saying requesting for funds. So I always felt bad because I was one of the reviewers having to say no, but you had to go look and see because you're getting so many funds. So again, getting a contact at a large corporation is a lot of it. You may look at things like hospitals have some foundations that you go through. And we have been successful in the past. I need to relook at that one for us again. But there are, some community foundations that work. There are some that will do things for you, but it's a lot of time consuming and reading. Grants is another way. We've gotten some grants in the past, some large grants, and they were like 1 time or 2 time type things. That doesn't always work. I have not tried crowdfunding, so I was going to ask if anybody else had. How did that?
I reviewed and looked at Kickstarter for a
Okay.
while and looked at all the different teams that were doing those fundings, and I'd seen anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 as far as actual what they get. Because if you don't meet your goal, then you don't get anything.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that if you were going to make a goal, that it was realistic, that they
Okay.
really would get it. But we decided to go with CrowdShare
Okay.
because Kickstarter, it's 15% commission on their part that you have to give back to them. But with the other one we did, they didn't have that amount. We made about $10,000. Mainly pushing out to families, friends to try and
Okay.
get it, because we wanted to go to World. We got a bid you know, the spot there. So for to help support that,
Support that.
we were kind of pushing that, yeah, to get us to go to World, we need that help and support.
Okay. So that's something, as I said, I haven't tried crowdfunding, but I know some teams have been successful. Our FTC team that we have has tried crowdfunding, but they've only gotten like $25 the last 2 years. That's why.
I think, John, the key is they did one for going to World, so there was a specific goal. If you do it for, you know, I just need the money to run the general purpose, run the team,
Right.
you're not going to get that kind of, and that's one of the things that where we've been the most successful with fundraising is when you get a major award, you've got to leverage that award. So like if you won Engineering Inspiration, we did. We were able to leverage that award and push it out to the community. And so, and we're going to, again, we're fundraising Go to Worlds. And so we got a lot more money than we expected.
Okay, that's great.
And that funded us for several years after that. But, you know, a lot of times teams don't think about leveraging that as a way to get additional funding, even from the sponsors that have already sponsored you, right? Say, look, what we did, we got Engineering Inspiration where we're really meeting what the first says is, you know, what we want to do, what the program is for, and a lot of times they would, you know, write another check.
And we had that when we've gone to Worlds, we've been able to get several of our sponsors to turn around a second check to get us there. But getting us beyond that, you know, I'm going to ask you a question. Because some teams have been successful and some doesn't, how did you push out that we've done this? Or how did you push out that you won an award to get the community and friends and family behind you? Because that was one thing that we have not been successful at. And I'm not sure
All
why.
thing I can say is at the time that it occurred, the last time it happened, it was basically the mentors and students going to the existing mentors, family, and that sort of thing to push it out. There wasn't a big push on social media at the time.
Okay.
So that, we did have, there was an article in the paper, we wrote an article. So that was one of the things, if you want to get in the paper, write the article and send it to the paper.
Right.
Or one of the, so like Cincinnati Inquirer has local beat, or, what do they call it?
Yeah,
Your
neighborhoods,
hometown, they have
right.
reporters specific for your home. So don't just send it to the Inquirer.
Right.
Send it to one of those reporters and trying to get their attention. And if you kind of write the article, now they'll may rewrite it, but at least give them the information. You know, don't say, here's a great story.
Right.
We just want Engineering Inspiration for first, and then expect them to come and write the story. That they're too busy.
Right.
But if you write the story where all they have to do is a little bit of investigation, then you're much more successful.
Yeah, and I found the same thing when we've written stories, we've been able to do that. Where they may do, as you said, some editing out there, but, you know, it's pretty much, you know, written the way what we wanted to say.
Right.
That's
Well, we did the school newsletter, so it was going out to all the parents that way.
Okay.
Yeah, we always do the school newsletter, the school.
I say with the thing with the Amazon Smile, what we did was we found out we had it out there, but they had to go to our website to click on the link. So the issue is how do you get to the website? So what we did was create these little cards. So now we're passing the cards out, and the card has the link on here to go to the website as a reminder, because people wouldn't know, hey, what's your site? And, you know, give to their parents and their older parents, they just wouldn't know. So now they've got a card available that they can then reference this before they do their shopping. So they've made over $1,000 through Amazon.
Wow.
So some of the things that companies ask us, well, what are you doing? You know, what's the benefit of your programs? I mean, we start off with scholarships. We have some stories out there where we have one story where one of the students, you know, came from a poor family, probably wasn't going to get to go to college, but because of this and adding stuff and just the encouragement that we gave him, he got 3/4 of a ride at Miami. And, you know, basically he was just hoping, well, can work a couple of years and just go to one of the community colleges here in Dayton area. So that was a good one. Internships, you know, we're now out there that we have some students that have internships, and we can prove, you know, that the program's working through there. We're now just getting to our graduates, so we can't quite say, oh, here are successful people. But at least we're saying, you know, here's our internships that we've got. Rob's son has been interning at GE Aviation and is looking at
Five times
and trying to get in the Edison program up in Boston. So we have another one of our students just got accepted at Berkeley for his PhD. So we have some you know, starting to get some successes that we can turn and say, here are things that we have. So, you know, our program is done. Future employees.
So, John, a question for me is, because this is something that we've struggled with. is how do you maintain contact with the students after they graduate?
Actually, one of our mentors contacts for the family every year. Now, again, I don't know how we're going to do it in 5 years, but right now, again, since we've only been around since 2009, and we've only have about 35 students that have 35, 40 students, it's easy for him to do it.
Right.
You've been around since,
You've been around since
94, because I talked to Travis,
2003.
Travis the same thing.
Right.
He goes, how are you doing it? And again, because Travis at 48, has been around, forever too, and they struggle with, trying to keep that up. But right now, we have one mentor that turns and does contact families at least once or twice a year to find out what they're doing. Are they still, what are they majoring, making sure they're still in college, haven't changed majors, where they at, and things like that. So now, we have a few that, if he hasn't gotten a hold of one, I've got one of the emails that we need to do, but we've probably got about 3 or 4 that just graduated this past year. So.
Yeah, and if you have an established team, another source of funding is alumni.
Yeah. Yes.
So at 1014, we communicate through our team through Facebook. So when someone graduates, we always add them to an alumni group. And then our coach, Mr. King, always posts a Google form. And so everybody will sign in that Google form. And that's how we've always gotten information from our mentors.
Okay, that's good. So, and now, as I said, we're starting to get into future employees, that we can start saying, here's what our program has done and the way the people are going. Another thing, they're always asking, we've got a couple of them, what impacts are we making in the community? We have a couple, we work with the Kroc Center here in Dayton. Kroc Center Salvation Army. It handles a lot of inner city kids and things like that. We run a STEM camp there for a few days. We also work with the FLL camp, part of RIPAC's Education Outreach Office. And we're trying to, on our outreaches, we're doing just a little bit different and trying to see how that does. For a long time, we would just demo the robots. The 2014 robot's the one I could sit there and think of the most. I was looking at the end of the year, all the pictures. We didn't do anything except go kick the ball to the kids. And it's like, how is this making an impact to the community? So now we're taking our robot to try to hook the kids to come over and see, but then we try to have some STEM activities there for them too, just simple STEM activities. We've had some pretty amazing students. Some of them are a little too scary smart for me, but so again, these are things that we get asked. What impacts are we doing, out in the community, by people. Some of the do's and don'ts. Again, the planning. We talked about earlier where we messed up. We didn't really have a plan. We were new. We didn't have anything together, and $7,000 got put out, and we just died right there. We needed to rehearse and just sound professional. Every team has a little bit different. Some teams, they get all dressed up and they go see them. We tend to do more of our branding, have one of our shirts, and try to have a nice pair of pants or things like that when we're doing. But at least they see here's our team and things like that. I know this is students, and this was something our first 10 students were all extroverts. There was no introvert about them. I mean, they would talk your ear off. I think Brandon was the quietest one, and you get him started after a couple of minutes. But all the others would just, they talk your ear off. Then all of a sudden, the students changed, and we got a whole bunch of extroverts, or introverts. And, I guess the joke is, the introvert and an extrovert engineer, introvert engineer looks at his own shoes, and extrovert engineer looks at your shoes. So that's kind of what we got. The students wouldn't do a lot of eye-to-eye contact. So we're trying to work with them and push them when they're talking to be more confident. I did see a big thing. We had a thing with one of the local TV stations. All the girls were happy to talk in front of the camera at the TV station. All the gentlemen were a bit shy about it. So, but hey, we got at least everybody got on that wanted to be on was interviewed on the TV station.
So we just did one for Mini. They had Mini Maker Fair had us do 2 interviews prior to it to promote both Mini Maker Fair and promote the team. So we got the student that talks a mile a minute. He never stops talking. He's always, figure he'd be perfect for going on TV and talking about the program and everything. So he gets out there, and the host asks him, so what are the age groups? I'm 15. Yeah, fortunately, we had another student there, and he did all the talking, and he took over. The kid that we thought was going to be, out there was like totally shut down.
Yeah.
And the other kid, actually stepped up, and
Right.
I didn't expect to stepped up, and so stereotypes,
Right, yeah.
can get you into trouble.
No, it can get
and
you
the rehearsing part, I think, is the biggest thing. But,
You're right.
uh,
And all our boys could have done it, but again, I think just the confidence thing was really what it went down, because a couple of them were talked to him on the side, but they didn't talk to him in front of the camera and things like that. So.
And that's one of the benefits when companies ask, how are you making an impact in the community? So you can tell them, we are training these students, because
Right.
when they do go in front of CEOs and whatnot to give a presentation, they do have to appear professional,
Right.
dress properly. So we're actually training them to dress properly, how to look at the boss and give a presentation in front of a bunch of people. And that's tough for these young students, but eventually they come out of that and they're shaky at first. They say, hey, I can do it at first. So we tell the companies we are helping these students get out of their shell and learn how to speak in front of audience.
Well, I turn to even encourage the students, when you're done, look at when everything's complete and before you leave, look at the individual you spoke with and say, all right, I'm a student, I'm still learning. Give me feedback, on what I did right, what I did wrong. I want to improve. Again, it's getting that something that you're trying to get the company's seeing what they're impacting, the community, because that's really what a lot of things are. Yep.
So, John, another story along those same lines. When we do, especially in the fall, we're doing training and everything. So I always try to engage all the students. So even the one that sit in the back, doesn't want to talk, I always look them in the eye, what is your opinion? Even if they say, I don't know.
Right.
And so one year, the team leader, in the feedback session at the end of the year, what did you like about the year, what didn't you like? His feedback was, you shouldn't make everybody talk if they don't want to talk. And I'm like, okay, I didn't answer the question, but the answer is, look, to succeed in the real world, you need to be able to communicate. You may have the best idea in the world, if you can't communicate it, you're lost.
Right.
And so why not learn how to do that among your friends, where they're not going to pick on you? I mean, I don't know, it's high school kids, so I don't know about that. But anyways, it's a much more open environment, an easier environment than standing up in front of a CEO and talking to them as a group. So yeah, it's important that even though they don't want to, that's how they need to learn. First, learn how to talk to your team, and then you can learn how to talk to an adult individual outside the company, and then to a group. So it's a step process.
Yeah, and we try to, especially the ones that are new or more of an introvert, to send them out with another student so they can talk and feel a little more comfortable. The do's and don'ts with the robot. I found sometimes it works good having a robot with you. I found sometimes we brought the robot and they say, don't pull out of the car. That one's one I guess you need to probably find out before you get there. And then if you don't know the answer, we've had some students that do this, that they just start answering and it's like you go, oh my God, shut up, please.
Yeah.
If you don't
make
know,
up the answer.
don't make up the answer. So again, we'll just, from here, First does have a nice thing on their tool sites. They have an out here called US First Robotics. They actually have if you just type in that fundraising, they have a nice tool site for fundraising plans. They have examples from other teams, what they've done. They've got business plans. They've got community analysis, documentation, organizations and presentations. So again, you don't have to start from square one, but you can kind of take that and kind of model it for your. I do better by having something to look at and then creating something instead of just writing it blank. So they do have funds out or things out here that you can use. And with that, a couple other things teams have done: a mystery dinner, a house party. Again, kind of like what you were just talking about. putting items out there and having people buy. They weren't on their, I guess on these items, they were their wish list items, but not actually out there. Cookbooks, robot pants. So, and that really kind of gets down to the end. So, what questions do we have? I know it's been a long day and everybody's tired and ready to go home, ready to eat. Again, I'm glad it's kind of interactive because hopefully I'm learning the same as you guys are learning. How we can help each other. I mean, a lot of the first stuff is helping each other. So I mean, the things that Rob's doing with the scouting is trying to help other teams and let them learn other things. So especially you new teams, please feel free to reach out to the other teams, even if you've been around a couple of years.
Well, the house party, is that just an event at the
Yeah, I guess
your
just an
facility,
event
or-
at the facility, and they just turn and they had the wish list, and kind of like what you did. They had a wish list out there and said, "Here's items we want," and people would buy them out on Amazon or out on Home Depot, things like that. Home Depot's one that our FTC team has always done, and they get a gift card. They really don't. It hasn't been a good fundraiser dollar-wise, but they'll get a $25 or $50 gift card to purchase some things at Home Depot. Again, it may be more specific if you go there if you're looking for something.
So one thing you can do with Home Depot, I don't know, I'm not sure about Lowe's, but Home Depot works very easily. Through our community foundation, one of our mentors took that information, went to Home Depot, set up the account information, and then you get a number basically. And when you go to Home Depot, and then so if you're purchasing materials for the team, you just at the cash register say, "I got a non-profit." You give them the code number, and then you don't have to pay sales tax.
Right.
So it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're saving 5, 6, 7% on your purchases, it starts to add up, right? So you have to be careful not to get widely distributed so that people aren't abusing it. Because if they find out it is, they can pull the number.
Right.
So what we do is we just have a couple of mentors that have the number, and they do all the purchasing.
Right.
It works out well because we have to do because of the foundation, we have to do a reimbursement for those funds. We have to purchase it first and then get reimbursed anyways. So having only a couple of people doing that, it makes it easier to manage.
Yes, I agree with that. So. Yes, sir.
Do folks generally charge participation fees for the students?
Some teams do and some teams don't.
The majority don't. So,
And I couldn't tell you,
and so
So
that's
the way-
part of what I've been doing. And so I've been talking to all 98 teams that are in this 3-state area. I would say that I've probably talked to 5 or 6 out of that 98 who charge
Really?
pay to play. So maybe they just haven't, other teams haven't told me that they do that, but usually we talk fundraising, and so.
That's part of our fundraising.
So,
So
and
we-
there's 1 or 2 teams, and that's how they don't do any fundraising. It is all pay to play, and they're charging $400 a kid.
So there's two. I won't say conflicted. Two ideas. One is pay to play. So that's what all the sports do. They do pay to play. You don't pay. And then there's ways for people that can't afford.
Right.
There's grants or whatever. So that's one way to approach it. We're just going to be just like sports. We do it the same way. My personal opinion is that I want to get as many kids involved as I can, and that becomes another barrier to participation. And I think that's what a lot of teams look at. And so we've talked about it, and the position we've taken so far is as long as we have enough money to get that first event paid for, and can pay our rent and all that stuff, then with fundraising, then that's what we're going to do. If it comes down to the team folds or we have a participation fee, then okay, we'll put out the participation fee. But it's like on the bottom of the list of things that we'd like to do rather than being the first thing, which some teams do. But it all depends. I mean, part of it is where are you situated, geographically, right? So like Wildstang, they turn kids away because they have so many apply. They could charge a fee, not have any problems. If you're inner city schools and you charge even a $5 participant fee might be a problem for a family, right? So you have to gauge your customer base, right, and whether or not it works for you or not.
But
I mean,
there are a
yeah.
lot of people who require, they say, if for instance, our team does this. If you want to be part of our team, you need to go talk to 5 businesses.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at. We're there. But the only thing we were really required, again, we do have an exception. We do ask the students and the parents to pay for their own travel. Other than that, we don't. But if we have a student that has a hardship, don't worry about it. It's taken care of. We have people that will happy to.
So we tell parents they have, we ask them to contribute a meal during the build season, since we work through dinner and lunch on Saturday. But it's not a requirement, so we don't tell them they have to do it. We tell them that's what we'd like you to do, and if they sign up, fine. If they don't sign up, that's fine. And we have the boosters that kind of fill in if they don't. Same thing with travel. It's up to the parents whether or not they want to travel or not. If they sign up, if they don't sign up, they don't have to pay the fees.
We used to sign up teams for the food, every day for the parents to sign up for the meals. That's a free app. Yes.
We did that for a long time, but then the last couple of years, our student base has spread out a lot. When we were closer, we could do it. But having parents working all day and then having a half-hour drive cooking, it didn't work out so well. So we've cut it down to a couple of days and Saturday at this point.
Okay, so what we did is we give them an option, we give the parents an option if you want to just donate the funds, and then our boosters will then purchase a meal for that.
And that may be what we need.
And so that fills in some of their response.
So we said we were to be done by 4. It's 4. I'm going to release anybody. If you have questions, we'd be happy to stay after and talk. So thank you very much, Jon.
Thanks, Tom.
And thank you all for coming and for being part of this and for helping connect our community a little bit better. If you fill out these sheets, if you have any ideas of how you would like things to go better next year, let us know and we'll try.
No problem.
Thanks.
Kill it.
But that may be it. Oh, I like your idea.
Kill a camera.
The parent goes to it.